Pokémon franchise is one that's disappointed me time and time again, with no game leaving an impact on me for a long time. I got into Pokémon at a pretty young age. My family had gone to visit an aunt and uncle abroad and they had Netflix. I remember watching Indigo League on their TV and absolutely falling in love. The characters, the music, the whimsical creatures, I was enthralled. Then we left. I watched the anime and YouTube videos for some time afterwards and briefly fell out of it. Then, Omega Ruby Alpha Sapphire came out. I don't know what got me interested in ORAS, but I definitely was. And after begging my mom for weeks to get it for me, she traveled for work, and when she returned, she had an orange 3DS XL and a copy of Alpha Sapphire. Being the Xbox kid I was at the time, this game completely blew my mind. I had a whole world of people and Pokemon and songs and cities in my pocket. It was like nothing I had experienced at the time. The closest thing I had at the time was my mom's iPad. But this was different. The whole world felt so real. For the first time in my life, I was immersed in a video game. Truly immersed. And believe me when I say, I chased this feeling for years to come, and still chase it to this day. After being so blown away by ORAS, I managed to get my parents to get me Pokémon Moon. And just like with ORAS, I was captured, but this time it was multiplied. Customizing my trainer, the cutscenes building up a larger plot, traveling around the islands of Alola, the improved graphics, the game was like nothing I had ever experienced. That was the beginning of my love for JRPGs, and Pokémon Moon was the catalyst that got me there. And based exclusively on the facts this video exists, Pokémon has well and truly changed my life. But I skipped Ultra Moon. I was gunning to get my hands on the brand new Nintendo Switch, what looked like the console of the future at the time. So, I got a Nintendo Switch. Took a couple months, but it was everything I wanted. Unfortunately, my first game was ARMS, but other than that, the first game of note was really Breath of the Wild. The world captured me in such a magical way. It was like the feeling I had with Pokémon Moon, but exponential, you know? It was incredible. But that's not really relevant to the story. Eventually I played Octopath Traveler. It was kinda like my gateway drug into the non-Pokemon JRPG, and after playing a decent amount of it, even though I never finished it, I only kept playing more. But shortly before I got obsessed, I played Let's Go Eevee, and I loved it. But it didn't trap me, it didn't capture my attention, I wasn't immersed. I thought it was because it was a spin-off rather than a main series game, but in retrospect, I think that Octopath, which I consider to be a 7 to 8 out of 10 JRPG, was a lot different from what Pokemon was to me. I didn't enjoy Pokemon as much because of my time in Octopath. Well, its story, its characters, its mechanics were no longer all that satisfying, and after discovering the depth other games in the genre had, and over the time between playing Let's Go and Sword, this would only get worse. In that time, I played 2 JRPGs that I consider to still be my favorites today: Xenoblade Chronicles 2 and Fire Emblem Three Houses. Both of these games did what ORAS had done, but way more. It was incredible. But the end of 2019 was fast approaching, and so too was the release of Pokémon Sword, the first mainline game to launch on the Nintendo Switch. over 2 years after release. So, I played it as quickly as I could. And what did I think? It was mid. I played through the first few hours over a few days because I was in boarding school at the time, but after I got home I beat it that night. A game being short isn't bad per se, but I think the fact I didn't feel the need to take my time shows how I felt about it. The music was good, but it was sure as hell no Xenoblade. The characters were fun, but there were no Black Eagles. The gameplay loop was interesting, but it was no Smash Ultimate. The world was cool, but it was no Hyrule. It was nothing like these games that had captured me over the years since I played Pokémon Moon. That was the moment that I began to fall out of love with Pokémon. For the rest of the school year up till COVID lockdown, I play Astral Chain and Ni no Kuni, which I consider to be overall decent RPGs. Over the course of the lockdown, I'd played Dragon Quest XI, Xenoblade Definitive Edition, and Persona 4 Golden. Some of the greatest of all time in my humble opinion. And that discounts the countless other non-RPG masterpieces I play, like Hollow Knight and Hades. Suffice to say, I discovered the gaming world that lay beyond Pokémon. Then, Pokémon Legends Arceus was revealed, and I let myself get caught up in the hype again. I thought this would be the game to bring back Pokémon. I thought it was going to be one of the greatest games of the modern era. So, as soon as it came out, I played it. What did I think? It was mid. Shortly after, I'd acquired the necessary hardware to play Persona 5 Royal. P5R was everything I had wanted to be. It was better than Persona 4 Golden in almost every conceivable way, and the 100+ hour story was so enticing because I'd get to play a game I was in love with for a long time. Thanks to my new PlayStation, I play Yakuza Like a Dragon, Final Fantasy VII Remake, God of War 2018, and Marvel's Spider-Man and Miles Morales. Now, Pokémon Scarlet and Violet are out, and at the time of this recording, they have been for 4 months, with DLC on the horizon. And for the first time in a while, I still haven't picked up the newest Pokémon game. I decided to save that money for Zelda. As for DLC, my money's already gone to Xenoblade 3. Will I play Scarlet and Violet? I think I will, inevitably, but by this point, I'm not expecting to be impressed by a Pokémon game ever again. Yet, I can't boycott the series. You may notice that I haven't exactly said why I can't hate Pokémon, and that the video's coming to a close, but the thing is, I have said why. I can't hate Pokémon because it made me discover all these worlds and experiences I'd fall in love with. It led me to meeting some of my closest friends. It led me to discovering parts of myself that I didn't even know were there or was too embarrassed to embrace. Pokémon well and truly paved the way for the life I lead now. And for that, I really can't boycott the series. I'm filled with nothing but a sad mixture of disappointment and hope for the future of this franchise. I know many say Scarlet and Violet are a good step in the right direction, but for a franchise as big and lucrative as Pokémon, a step this small should not even be necessary. Looking at other modern RPGs like Xenoblade 3 or SMT5 that are also on the Switch, Pokémon has absolutely no excuse to look like this. Even the launch title looked better than this, and the hardware was still new back then. Pokémon Company has no excuse to be releasing products this underwhelming anymore, and I think fans should stop defending them. People even go so far as to say that voice acting has never improved any game ever. And I think that's just flat out wrong. Even bad voice acting can improve a bad game. It's just such an embarrassing take, because Even if you don't like voice acting, it's easy to add a toggle in the game that turns it off. Why do we live in a world where the most famous franchise in the world's mediocrity is excusable? In any case, I don't have much else to say without turning this video into a rant, which I don't really want to do. Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe and play Xenoblade Chronicles. Hi, Editing Elysium here, and I thought I'd just clear a couple things up. For starters, even though I said Sword and Shield were mediocre, don't think that means I think they were bad. For me, mediocre and bad are very different things. I had a great time with these games, and I had a lot of great memories with them. A lot of my favorite Pokémon and songs come from these games. I really do like them. I just wish they were better. They could have been so much better. And also, I just realized that in the script I forgot to mention that Brilliant Diamond Shining Pearl came out, which I think says all I need to say about those games. So yeah, thanks for watching. Play Xenoblade.